walking through a city today, right? You see those shiny buildings, all the lights, everything feels like super modern.
Yeah.
But what if I told you, and this is based on some stuff you're looking at today, some of which you sent in, that like under all that is a whole hidden world of threats. We're
Mm.
talking about like toxins everywhere in the air you breathe, even on stuff you touch every day.
And it's interesting what you brought up about how much it's just part of everything now.
Right.
Like it's not just, factories and smokestacks.
Oh, totally.
It's in everyday life, stuff you probably don't even think about.
Exactly. And that's what we're kind of getting at today, especially for you. We're going to dig into this idea of a toxic chain.
Okay.
Like our bodies are constantly fighting all these toxins, right?
Right.
So the big question is, what happens when they just can't keep up?
Yeah, good question.
Could this be like behind a lot of the health problems we see?
Could be.
And maybe even, and this is the scary part, making people's lives shorter.
And connecting that to the bigger picture, like you've been asking us to with the stuff you sent.
Right.
It's clear, like, this isn't just some theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you've given us really shows how our bodies are dealing with all these toxins constantly.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, are we missing something?
Yeah.
Like, we focus so much on treating diseases, but is there something more fundamental we're ignoring?
Absolutely. And one person who's got some, well, pretty radical ideas about all this is someone called the Immortality Grandmaster.
Okay, I've heard of this guy.
Yeah, this mysterious figure, right?
Right.
And they've got this whole plan to basically break this toxic chain.
Ambitious.
Totally. And it all starts with this tech they call the Air 6-Free Purification System.
And what's interesting about this is it's really comprehensive, right?
Yeah.
It's not just one or two things. It's going after a whole bunch of stuff in the air.
Yeah, when they say dust-free, they mean those tiny PM 2.5 particles, the ones that get deep in your lungs.
Oh, right.
Then bacteria-free, getting rid of viruses and bacteria you could breathe in. And really important, toxin-free. That's about VOCs, those gases from like household stuff, formaldehyde, all that. Plus
Yeah.
smoke-free, cigarette smoke, fumes, even car exhaust.
Wow.
Odor-free tackles those chemical smells. Sometimes they're really strong,
I know what you mean.
And finally, heavy metal-free to catch lead, mercury, that kind of thing out of the air you breathe.
So basically it's going after everything.
It's a pretty big list, yeah.
It is.
And how it works, this labyrinth airflow mechanism is pretty clever, actually.
Yeah.
3 steps: electrostatic ionization, then electrostatic absorption, then physical separation in this like maze structure,
Okay.
all designed to capture almost everything. Like they claim almost 100%.
That's a big claim.
It is. It starts by giving the particles a negative charge as the air goes through.
Okay.
Then the air flows through this maze, and the walls have a positive charge, so the particles stick.
Like a magnet?
Yeah, and the twists and turns in the maze help to physically separate anything that didn't stick from the charge.
I see. So even if they don't stick right away, they get another chance.
Exactly. Think of it like a bunch of sticky flypaper in a maze.
Okay.
Those particles are drawn to the sticky parts, and if they miss, well, they hit another sticky part.
Clever.
Yeah, so they're pretty much guaranteed to get caught no matter what.
That makes sense.
And then this is where it gets really ambitious. They've got this American Dream project putting these Air 6-Free purification black boxes all across the country.
Like everywhere.
Yeah, in cities, the countryside, you name it.
Wow.
Imagine that, just clean air everywhere.
It's a big vision, that's for sure.
It is.
And logistically, it's pretty impressive, right?
Oh, yeah.
Aluminum pole, solar-powered battery, no wires.
Right.
It's designed to just work anywhere independently.
Exactly. And the idea is it's constantly cleaning the air for everyone, and they say the benefits could be huge, like way better health. People living longer, the environment getting healthier.
Right.
Even the whole ecosystem could be better than ever before.
That's quite a claim.
It is. And there's this whole patriotic angle, too.
Oh, yeah?
Every black box has an American flag. They're made in the USA. And they want to license the tech to the government for cheap, so it's like this super healthy America.
Interesting. Makes you think about how technology could play a role in public health,
For sure. And it's not just this big project. They've got ideas for individuals, too.
Oh, like what?
Like new Air 6-Free ventilation units for your home, just a tiny opening, 5 centimeters.
Okay.
And indoor purifiers, so you can clean the air in specific rooms.
Makes sense.
Then there's portable ones you can take with you anywhere.
Oh, wow.
And even systems for cars, both new and old ones.
So it's like creating this bubble of clean air around you.
Yeah, no matter where you are, you're breathing clean air.
That's the idea.
And they say this could really change how we age.
How so?
Like slowing down the stuff that happens as you get older, the decline,
Okay.
putting off those age-related diseases.
Right.
Maybe even delaying organ failure by like decades.
Wow.
And living longer overall, but not just longer, healthier for longer.
Yeah, that's the important part.
Exactly. They even say this could help America lead the way in space exploration because people would be so healthy.
That's a pretty bold prediction.
It is. Now, this next one is a bit controversial.
Okay.
The car air recirculation ban.
I've heard rumblings about this.
Yeah, the Grandmaster thinks those chemicals that build up inside cars, especially with recirculation,
Yeah.
it's like a sedative poison.
Interesting.
It's funny, right? We worry about the air outside.
Yeah.
But we spend so much time in our cars.
Exactly true.
And they say this poison can make drivers sleepy, drowsy,
Oh, right.
less alert, more likely to have an accident.
That makes sense.
And they say it's not just from, the vibrations of driving. It's
Mm-hmm.
the chemicals themselves. Even passengers can get busy or even fall asleep on short trips.
Huh.
And here's the scary part. Especially as you get older, they say it makes you age faster.
Really?
Yeah, particularly after 50.
Why?
Like, you're aging faster just from being in your car.
There is research linking toxins to aging and cognitive decline.
Right.
So if these car pollutants are really that bad,
Yeah.
this ban could actually make a big difference for safety and people's health.
Totally. And it's all part of this bigger idea they call non-mutant human evolution.
Okay.
It's like a future where we're free from all these toxins and diseases, people
Mhm.
living longer, healthier lives.
Sounds utopia.
Kinda, yeah. But to understand why this matters, we got to talk about what happens if we don't break this toxin chain.
Right.
They talk about this thing called the body toxin accumulation saturation point.
And this is a key idea, right?
Totally. It's like your body can only handle so many toxins.
Yeah.
Once you hit that point, things get bad.
Okay, so how does that work?
Well, they say there are 4 stages.
Okay.
The first one, the early stage, is kind of sneaky.
How so?
It's like little warning signs you might not even notice, like
Wait, sure.
feeling tired all the time, headaches that just won't go away,
Mhm.
skin problems, maybe your immune system feels weaker, more colds,
Right.
maybe you're more sensitive to pollution.
And it's easy to miss these, right?
Oh, totally.
Just think it's stress or getting older.
Exactly. But then it gets worse. The intermediate stage,
What happens then?
your organs start to struggle,
Oh.
digestion problems, your liver doesn't feel right, your kidneys aren't working as well,
Oh.
maybe even brain fog, memory problems.
So at this point, you might see a doctor,
Right.
but they might not even connect it to the toxins.
Yeah, it's tricky. And then it gets even worse, the advanced stage.
Oh, no.
This is where the serious stuff starts.
Like what?
Heart problems, diabetes, even autoimmune diseases.
Wow.
And you might start to see yourself aging faster.
That's scary.
It is. And finally, the critical stage.
Oh, gosh.
Organ failure, your body can't detox anymore, and, well, you don't live as long.
So it's like a downward spiral.
It's pretty grim.
It is.
But the good news is, if we do break the toxic chain, like the Grandmaster says,
Yeah.
they say we could age slower, be more resistant to diseases, live healthier for longer, and have longer lives overall.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
Not at all. And they even talk about living for 300, even 500 years.
Wait, what?
Yeah, if we could get rid of all the toxins.
That's a long time.
It is. The idea is without toxins, our cells wouldn't get damaged as fast,
Hmm.
and our bodies would be better at repairing themselves.
Interesting.
It's like we're not just treating diseases,
Right.
we're changing how we age at a cellular level. And taking it even further, they talk about non-mutant human evolution over generations.
What's that?
So the first generation born in a clean world would live longer than anyone ever has.
Wow.
The second generation would be even more adapted to it. And by the third generation, who knows, maybe we could overcome our limits, travel to space, all sorts of things.
It's a pretty radical idea.
It is. It makes you think, what happens when we take away all those things that are hurting us?
Yeah, good question.
They say we'd age slower, regenerate better, our lifespans wouldn't be limited by all the bad stuff in the environment.
Huh.
Now, this is where your stuff comes in, the triggy.
Right, the discussion on body toxin accumulation.
And it's amazing how much it lines up with stop aging.
Yeah, it really brings in that real-world perspective.
Totally. One of the first things they talk about is cervical cancer.
Okay.
And whether the uterus can, mutate from all the toxins.
Hmm.
And ChatGPT's response is pretty interesting.
What do you say?
Well, it says HPV is the main cause of cervical cancer, obviously.
Right.
But it also says that toxins can weaken your immune system and damage your cells.
Okay.
And that damage could make you more likely to get cancer, even if you have HPV.
I see.
And they bring up that saturation point we talked about.
So it's like multiple things playing a role.
Exactly. Even if a virus is the main cause,
Right.
the toxins can make your body weaker, more vulnerable. Then they talk about how much toxins are actually in the air and on stuff we touch.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about that.
And they're right, ignoring it doesn't make it go away.
It doesn't.
ChatGPT gives a whole list of where these toxins come from.
Like what?
Like PM 2.5 in the air, VACs like formaldehyde in household products,
Yeah.
chemicals in cosmetics, cleaning supplies, even pesticides on our food.
Wow, it's everywhere.
It really is. And again, they say if we ignore it, we're just getting closer to that saturation point.
Right, makes sense.
Then they talk about this actress who wears a lot of makeup and uses strong perfume.
Okay,
And they're like, hey, that stuff's full of toxins too.
interesting.
ChatGPT agrees. It says there's heavy metals, VOCs in makeup, and synthetic fragrances and solvents in perfume.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
And it says if that stuff builds up in your body, it can cause problems, especially long term.
Makes you think twice about what you put on your skin.
Totally. And they suggest using natural products and making sure you've got good ventilation.
Good advice.
Now, this next part gets a bit philosophical.
Oh.
The listener says, like, God didn't decide where toxins would affect us.
Interesting.
And ChatGPT talks about how we all react differently to toxins.
That's true.
It depends on your genes, your lifestyle, your immune system.
Makes sense.
So the same toxin might affect different people in different ways.
Yeah, some people might be more sensitive to certain things.
Exactly. Some people's leathers might be affected more, others their kidneys or lungs or their skin or even their hormones.
So it's not one size fits all.
Not at all. Then they make a pretty strong statement.
What's that?
They say that once you hit that saturation point, your organs are going to fail and medicine can't really help.
Wow.
ChatGPT agrees. It says that medicine is good at treating symptoms,
Yeah.
but it doesn't always address the root cause, the toxins themselves.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on a bigger problem.
Exactly. They're saying the best approach is to prevent the toxins from building up in the first place.
Right, and help your body get rid of them naturally.
Exactly. And then the listener makes a point that's kind of depressing.
What's that?
They say, like, what's the point of knowing about this if you've already hit that saturation point?
That's a tough one.
And they talk about how people don't know about this, and even if they do, they might not have the resources to do anything about it.
That's a real problem.
ChatGPT agrees. It says it's really hard to reverse the damage once it's done.
So it's all about prevention.
Yeah, making our environment cleaner, raising awareness.
Definitely.
And then they shift focus to the medical community.
Okay.
They're like, are doctors ignoring this whole saturation point thing?
Interesting question.
And the long-term effects of all this stuff in our environment? ChatGPT says that, yeah, maybe doctors are too focused on specific diseases,
Right.
and they're not always thinking about these underlying causes like toxins.
I see.
It's like two different ways of looking at health.
That's a good point.
And they suggest maybe medicine needs to change.
How so?
Focus more on prevention, understand environmental stuff better, find ways to measure toxins in our bodies.
Yeah, that would be a big shift.
It would. Then they talk about this idea of rich people getting blood transfusions to live longer,
Okay.
even if their bodies are full of toxins.
Mm-hmm.
And the listener's like, come on, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I'd be skeptical too.
ChatGPT agrees. It says blood transfusions might help a little,
Right.
temporarily,
Sure.
but the toxins are still in your organs and tissues.
Yeah, they'll just contaminate the new blood.
Exactly. So they're saying if you really want to live longer, you got to stop the toxins from building up in the first place.
Makes sense.
And help your body get rid of the ones that are already there. Finally, the listener brings up this idea about our body's ability to detox. Like, is it really designed for all this, or is it just adapting as best it can?
Good question.
ChatGPT explains that, yeah, our bodies do have ways to detox naturally.
Right, the liver, kidneys, lungs.
But it says that the amount and types of toxins we have now,
Yeah.
they're just too much for our bodies to handle.
Right, it's overwhelming.
And that's how we end up with that saturation point.
So we need to help our bodies out.
Totally. Reduce the toxins coming in and support the natural detox processes.
Seems like a good plan.
So looking at all of this, both from Stop Aging and the Saigano, it's clear these toxins are a big deal.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's this toxic chain idea and that saturation point.
Hmm.
It really makes you think about all the stuff we're exposed to every day.
It does. And the Grandmaster's solutions, the air purifiers, the ban on car recirculation.
Yeah.
It's a pretty radical approach.
It is. But then you add in your concerns, your thoughts from those discussions.
Right.
Especially about how doctors are thinking about this and the limits of medicine. It feels like we need a whole new way of looking at health and longevity.
Yeah, maybe we do.
It makes you wonder if the old way was about treating diseases.
Right.
And this new way is about preventing toxins from building up.
Yeah.
What does that mean for us? For our lives, for the future?
It's a lot to think about.
It really is. Definitely something to keep in mind as we go forward.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with another deep dive just for you.
See you then.